Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Poppin' It's D, Boss Reacts to this vid by Patrick CC. This is the downward spiral of Nick Cannon. 12 kids with 6 women. This is a hot mess. And I know it's a running joke and people like to hee hee ha ha about it, but why are you having all these damn kids? You just gonna be a absentee father? Like, that's your goal in life? That shit crazy. Anyway, let's see what's happening. Let's watch.
Corny, unfunny,
Damn.
not talented.
Damn.
I don't know, I just don't like him. These are some of the most common things you will hear whenever people are talking about Nick Cannon. These people are even more enraged to find out that he has 12 kids with 6 different women. Although many of Nick's own words and own actions are what caused him to be almost universally disliked, the hatred towards him begins for such insignificant reasons. Nick landed reoccurring roles on Nickelodeon's All That and Kenan and Kel when he was a teenager. He also had various one-offs which led to him securing his own TV show, The Nick Cannon Show, in 2002. This show suffered from terrible reviews and was canceled after 2 short seasons. But the show being unfunny and unpopular is not necessarily the reason why he was disliked, because he also had a lead role in a very successful movie that same year, Drumline. This film highlighted HBCU's incredible dedication and pride towards their elite marching bands. While the reactions and reviews for this film are mixed, $57 million in box office revenue proved that it was a hit. Nick was popular, but his roles never portrayed him as the cool kid or the tough guy. Sorry to the band kids out there, but y'all don't got the coolest reputation. I know it sounds silly, but a lot of child stars become associated with their on-screen personality, leading to a warped perception of who they really are. And his next role did not change that perception. Love Don't Cost a Thing, where his character Alvin Johnson is a nerd who lacks any type of game or swag and has to force himself to be cool to land the most popular girl in school.
Probably need to roll your pants up just a little bit.
Oh, see, these is Sean John. So I gotta get my swang on.
Oh my God, this is corny.
Son, what has happened to your priorities?
Oh, nah, see, it was all about what was under the hood. Now I'm trying to be on top of it.
Oh no.
Nick played this role so well that people still to this day think that that's who he truly is. He was plagued with the child star curse, where he can't escape the image of his early roles, and people assumed he was some sort of privileged trust fund baby since he was on TV. But most people don't know that Nick Cannon escaped gang life in Southern California. Nick's father, James, was one of the original members of the Lincoln Park Bloods, based out of Southeast San Diego, California. James and his girlfriend, Beth, had Nick when they were still in high school, which led to Nick growing up in the Bay Vista housing projects around the Blood set. His father, James, got into some trouble, went to prison, came out reformed, and decided to move to North Carolina to live with his family and study ministry, leaving Nick to be raised by his grandmother and mother in the projects. James started a new family in North Carolina and had more children, but he didn't abandon Nick. James was a televangelist, which is a preacher that appears regularly on local TV, broadcasting their sermons. Whenever Nick was with his family in North Carolina, he was in front of the camera, singing, dancing. His father even gave him a segment on his public access TV show to do his stand-up comedy as an 8-year-old. He was raised to be an entertainer. When Nick was home in Cali, he took those skills up to local clubs and open mics, and built up a name in Hollywood as an up-and-coming teenage performer. But he got his big break while performing at an event called Laugh-A-Palooza in Atlanta, where he was discovered by Will Smith's talent agency. Will was eager to meet Nick, and assisted him in getting an entertainment manager, as well as his first record deal with Jive Records.
So he walked in the room and within 5 minutes, I had pitched him a TV show, my album, all of that stuff, and he was like, yo, you remind me so much of me. He was like, I'm gonna sign you up for everything, and gave me my first deal, and I feel like...
Nick was hoping that his music would revitalize his corny Nickelodeon image, and I'm hoping that you're interested in hearing about today's sponsor, The Ridge. I believe them don't. I also got a nice to offer with an off ultimately be the peak. He to him. At the time, R. Kelly was an icon at number 20 CC. Thanks, Ridge. Gigolo featuring R. Kelly was the name of his single that peaked at number 24 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 2004. At the time, R. Kelly was an icon. Not only did he carry the song, but Nick being next to him made Nick look even less cool. The beginning of his music career would ultimately be the peak. He dropped a few singles after, but they never generated much buzz. By 2006, he stopped releasing music overall. So Nick was not the cultural icon that kids aspired to be, but he was extremely successful and was probably a better role model than most celebrities. I didn't even mention that he was an executive producer of Drumline and his Nickelodeon show.
he had 2 deals as a producer going. He had
I
a
know
deal
this
with
nigga.
Jive Records that he had pretty much like negotiated along with his team, but he was very much in charge of his business.
Nick was in a boss-like position that no other child
Really
stars could
popular
get.
actor.
His
I forgot
next
his
big
name.
move would help him gain some cool points, but he was often still the butt of the joke. Wild 'N Out is easily his most notable creation, which is a sketch comedy and improv game show that had celebrity guests each episode. It was a destination place for fans of comedy and hip-hop. The show has been running since 2005. With over 20 seasons, Nick decided that he didn't want all the success for himself. He had Will Smith reach down and bring him up, so he was going to do the same for others. A lot of people forget how many careers Nick helped to amplify by starting this show. Cat Williams, Pete Davidson, DC Young Fly, Taron Killam,
That's a
Timothy
fact.
Delgado, Affion Crockett, D-Ray
Simone,
Davis, Mikey Day,
Beast Mode.
and many others. Nick was the host and producer, so he was very often the punching bag. And in comedy, anything goes, so they never held back. Nobody ever considered Nick to be the funniest or the most talented on the show. He still took it in stride, because he just secured a crown jewel as a wife, Mariah Carey. Just a
That's
few
crazy.
weeks after meeting, Nick proposed to the 220 times platinum superstar. It was hard to hate on Nick
I
now.
know, you
He was
know.
winning. He
A
may be an
few
easy
weeks.
target for jokes, but he was now a 10-year veteran and undeniably successful and pretty humble. But there was one person who was very angry about Nick and Mariah's relationship, Marshall Mathers, and he had
Oh,
something
man.
to say about it. Eminem and Mariah Carey had a public back and forth beef that began
What this
after
gotta
a
do with all his
short
goddamn
relationship
kids?
that started around 2001.
Okay, we're good now.
Eminem says that they dated, had sex, all that. Mariah Carey says otherwise.
Did you date him?
No. Can I just clarify that I did not have a physical relationship with him? I did not have an intimate relationship.
The feud went on for years, mostly instigated by Eminem, but in 2009 he took
was
it
a
too
troll.
far. The first verse on the track titled Bagpipes from Baghdad was entirely about Mariah. Mariah, whatever happened to us? Why did we have to break up? Nick Cannon better back the fuck up. I'm not playing, I want her back, you punk. Then he proceeds to call her the C word and said, Nick, you had your fun, I've come to kick you in your sack of junk. He also says, I wish you luck with the... As you can imagine, Nick wasn't very happy with Eminem's words. His immediate response came from a lengthy blog post on his website. In this post, Nick kind of describes how his thought process was evolving as he listened to the song. He said he initially had respect for him, then he was confused because he heard his name. Then he says he felt sorry for Eminem. And he says, what type of grown-ass man lies about getting with a chick? Only Slim Lamey, LOL. Then I asked myself, should I go find this bitch and whoop his little ass? And then he says, I'm taking full action on you, Eminem. I don't know why no one has stood up to your ass yet, but I guess it's going to take a corny, whack-rapping boy toy from Nickelodeon to set you straight. As a matter of fact, I think you're going to bring my whack rhymes out of retirement. Your legacy has now been tainted from this day forth. You will now be known as the rapper who lost to corny-ass Nick
And that
Cannon.
didn't happen.
Nick couldn't have responded in a more, well, corny
Nick
way.
Cannon way,
He
yeah.
admits to being corny. He knows that's what people think about him. And I think him admitting it solidified it forever.
I don't know if you want that. I
I
don't know
would
if you want
never-
that problem rapping with Nick Cannon fist.
I would never respond to that. Never. Listen up. Now look, the camera's on, right? He's legendary corny. He's been corny forever.
Nick even claims that he went looking for Eminem.
Oh, he's talking about you, kid.
Who else was gonna kick his ass? I went looking for that motherfucker. We had this conversation.
Unsurprisingly, Nick never actually did anything. It was actually Mariah who handled the situation by dropping an absolute smash diss track called Obsessed.
This was
the
a
reason why
bop,
Mariah's
too.
diss was so cutthroat was
It was a
because
good
it was
song.
catchy, fun,
Very
and petty.
catchy.
Eminem turned on the radio and heard the girl that rejected him, but he couldn't help but get the
You're
chorus stuck in his head.
delusional,
Then when he
you're
watched the music video, he saw
delusional,
himself being depicted as a
you're
creepy
delusional.
stalker. Eminem quickly responded with a diss called The Warning, where he held back nothing. The lyrics in this song are so brutal that if you said them today about a woman, you'd lose everything you have. Regardless, Eminem fans think that Eminem won. Mariah fans think that she won. And both fan bases agreed that Nick Cannon lost. He didn't beat up Eminem. He didn't make him apologize. He swore up and down that he tried everything to get face-to-face with him, but he actually made it worse.
This guy's good, bro. He's going. He's like freestyle. Someone should sign this guy.
This was Nick's attempt at promoting his new record called White People Party Music. Nick posted this photo on Instagram. It's official. I'm white. Hashtag White People Party Music. In stores April 1st. Dude, go get it. Join the party. Hashtag good credit. Dog kissing. Beer pong. Farmers markets. Fist pumping. Cream cheese eating.
This is
Angry people
so
claim this is whiteface.
bad.
This is a double standard. Because if a white person did this, it would get the them canceled forever. But many other people pointed
This
out
is
that
corny
whiteface
and
isn't
weird.
actually a thing. Blackface is offensive because in the entertainment
Exactly.
industry,
I
white
hate
people
when they
use
try to
it
make
themselves
shit
back
happen.
and act in a very
Stop trying to make fetch happen,
discriminatory and
alright?
derogatory manner for other
It's
white
not a
people's
good
shameful
comparison.
entertainment. There is no history of whiteface, and most white people were not actually offended, but everyone, no matter what race you were, agreed that it was unfunny, annoying, and did not make them want to listen to his album. In fact, he even deleted it off all platforms to this day. He also said this.
Anything racist happened to you recently?
I don't really look at it like that because I'm the racist.
You're the racist.
I'm very racist. I'm blatantly racist.
Example. I've never heard someone so proud of it before.
I am proud to be racist.
Okay.
I mean, because when you think about what racism actually is, or a racist, it's one who believes their race is superior over certain things. You know what I mean? There's certain things that I believe my race is superior at.
For example?
Sex category.
It's tough to tell if this is a joke or not because there's clearly an edit made in the video. You can see when Rosenberg asks for an explanation, there was something redacted, but people didn't think it was a joke. They just used that as a justification to hate Nick Cannon even more. Nick and Mariah got divorced in 2016. There was no drama, bad blood, or a messy story. A clean break. Just 3 months after they divorced, he already had another child named Golden Saigon with Brittany Bell. But for the next 3 years, Eminem was living rent-free in Nick's head. Despite the fact that Nick was making huge money moves, Wild 'N Out was over a decade old and still successful. He had become the chairman of Nickelodeon and helped them revive their Team Nick brand. He was the host of America's Got Talent, had a deal with Viacom that allowed him to produce any show he wanted on VH1, MTV, and Nickelodeon. He had a production deal with NBC and had an extensive list of roles in TVs, movies, shorts, comedy specials, you name it. Nick Cannon has done it, but he still wanted to get at Eminem.
What's up with that plaque on his teeth? Oh my god.
Y'all go convince
all that
Marshall.
money you can't
Then over the
get
years,
no
he was
floss?
constantly rehashing
What
the
was
old...
that? Sorry, I was distracted by the plaque. Everybody knows I would love it to be on Wild 'N Out.
Be on Wild 'N Out. Y'all go convince Marshall. Then over the years, he was constantly rehashing the old Mariah story on various podcasts, talking about how he really wanted to beat up Eminem. Eventually, it got M's attention, and he responded on a song with Fat Joe called Lord Above. I know me and Mariah didn't end on a high note, but that other dude's whipped that got him neutered. Almost got my caboose kicked. Full quit, you not gonna do I let her chop my balls off too before I lost to you, Nick. Then Nick responded with not one, not two, but 3 diss tracks of his own.
Ain't no coming back, that's a fact. It's the invitation. Hold Joe to lean back, don't get hit with this retaliation. To be the king of the room, ludicrous, lucrative lyrics. Now all you do is just cry, you got Tourette's in the stare. Maybe it's your mommy issues. I see why you hate us, pretend you love us, but you really jealous. Wanna be brothers and Christopher Columbus.
Nick Cannon trying to act tough on a record just doesn't really work for him. He said the only reason he dissed Eminem was for the sport of hip-hop, and ultimately to get him on his show Wild 'N Out. He thought he was about to ignite a back-and-forth rap beef, but Eminem never responded. Well, he did tweet that he demanded an apology from Nicholas. Of course, Nick didn't apologize to Eminem, but he did apologize to a different group of people for some comments he made on a podcast a few months later. Nick posted a Cannon's Class podcast episode with Professor Griff. Griff was an ex-member of the rap group Public Enemy, who got kicked out of the group in the 80s for making anti-Semitic comments. The main comments that got him fired were,
and we're defining who the Jewish people are, because I feel like if we actually can understand that construct, then we can see that there is no hate involved. When we talk about the lies, the deceit, how the fake dollar controls all of this.
Nick then goes on a long tangent about how non-melanated people lack the power of the sun, and out of jealousy they decided to become soulless savages who destroy people of color. And he discussed how he feels about the powerful people who control this country and was accused of spreading conspiracy theories. Viacom released a statement. While we support ongoing education and dialogue in the fight against bigotry, we are deeply troubled that Nick has failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetuating anti-Semitism, and we are terminating our relationship with him. Nick then took to Facebook to write a 1,500-word essay about his relationship with Viacom, an apology to the Jewish community, and ending with a statement that Viacom is on the wrong side of history and that he demands full ownership of the Wild 'N Out brand and an apology. But they didn't budge, and the way this situation ended was by Nick doing a full-on apology press tour, where he went on various major media platforms condemning anti-Semitism, redacting his comments, and educating himself by having conversations with Jewish people on how to not further the...
This is so embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. Okay, yeah, clearly this video is not about the kids. This is about the corny history of this man. This is so sad. You demanded that they apologize. And then they in turn made you apologize and go on a fucking tour. Apologize.
Anti-Semitic rhetoric. He got his deal back with Viacom and in celebration decided to have 10 more children in the span of 3 years. December 23rd, 2020, his child Powerful Queen was born to mother Brittany Bell. 6 months later, his children Zion Mixolydian and Zillion Air were born to mother Abby De La Rosa. Then just 2 weeks after that, he had another child named Zen, born to mother Alyssa Scott, who unfortunately died of brain cancer just 6 months later. In June of 2022, 1 year later, he had his child Legendary Love with mother Bree Tiesi. Then September 14th of this year, he had child Onyx Cole with mother Lanisha Cole, and 2 weeks after that, he had another child, Rise Messiah, with mother Brittany Bell. It's also been announced that he's expecting another child with Abby De La Rosa and another child with Alyssa Scott. So Nick is basically getting 3 different women pregnant at the same time, 2 years in a row. Now, he's been subject to a lot of criticism for his procreation, but not enough criticism on the choice of these kids' names, though. He's made it very clear that this is his intention. He wants to have this many kids, and he sees this as a blessing. I know you said you won't call him a bad dad, but I will. He's not a good father. He may be kind to them and give them all the financial security and things they'll ever need or want, but he'll never be able to give them the attention and hands-on love they need. Nick has assured people that when he isn't working, he's spending all his free time with his kids and giving them the love they need. I mean, he better keep working because he's going to need like $100 million to make sure these kids live a good life. But I'm sure these kids will be grateful he amassed a fortune for them. I only saw my dad once every other week for my whole life, and I love him. People aren't quick to defend Nick Cannon because he doesn't have an extensive artistic catalog that is universally loved. But if we are being honest, he has had an incredible career, and the fact that he escaped the projects and built an empire for him and his family is admirable. He definitely let his ego get the best of him at times, and as a successful man, that is bound to happen. He may be corny, he may have a questionable view on a healthy family dynamic, he may have said some bold and irrational things, but there are worse role models. I think he's still overhated. But in 20 years, it's likely that Nick will probably end up in the same beef that 50 Cent has with his son today. Hopefully he doesn't wish his son to get hit by a bus. Oh, you don't believe me? Well, check out this video.
Yikes. This was hard to watch. It was so cringy. I always knew Nick was cringy, but goddamn, this is like a new level. I didn't know all these details. But as far as all these goddamn kids, you somehow you see your daddy every other week and you love him. That's not going to be the case with Nick Cannon. Sorry. As you just reported to us, this man has a fucking empire. He is doing so much shit. He's so busy. He has 12 children. It is impossible for him to spend time with all of these goddamn kids. It's impossible. He's not going to be in their lives like that. And they're going to grow up feeling some type of way about that. Okay? That's usually the case. They're not going to be like, oh, I got all this money. Because when you're used to having money, it's not that valuable to you. They're going to wish that they had more time with him. That's very common. People feel that way when their father isn't that present in their lives. And it is impossible for this man to be present in 12 kids' lives. And then he's going to keep this up. He's talking about this is what he want to do. He wants to have more children. So more children running around with their daddy not really in their life like that. I don't agree with that. But hey, it's your life, your sperm. These girls letting you knock them up. It's your business. But yeah, very corny. Y'all let me know what y'all thought though. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.